What do Potosi, Chester, Metropolis, and Old Shawneetown have in common?
Don't know.
Besides sounding like fictional towns, they've actually got some of the best fall leaves in the Midwest.
Ah,
Our goal at Best Motorcycle Roads is to make your next motorcycle trip the best it can be. All right, Todd, the bottom line is get out on the Great River Road and get to riding. It's October.
absolutely.
So many of these roads we actually have never ridden in the
Mhm.
fall. So what we did was we kind of cross-referenced the great roads we knew about,
Mhm.
dug into some of the internet favorite fall leaf areas. And so what we've done is we've come up, we cover Michigan, Minnesota, Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, and Missouri
Mhm.
on our podcast just to kind of focus in. So what we've done is we've taken those and we found the best road in each one of those places. So let's start with Michigan. And again, we've rode the Tunnel of Trees a number of times, but never in the
Right.
fall. And oh my gosh, I saw some of the pictures and they are amazing. So
Yeah.
Tunnel of Trees just has to be amazing in person. 22 miles of M119, which I am just imagining to be quite beautiful.
Right.
We just rode this not too long ago. And boy, when you were riding along that overpass of where the lake, we were riding from south
So
to north.
mhm.
And wow, it was one of the coolest things. And I've just forgotten it so many times. And when you don't go there and you go back, and I can only imagine how many colors of leaves there might be in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be fantastic, and it's a narrow
Oh
road,
my God.
so yeah,
It's
way to
so narrow. I mean, it can't be more than 17, 18 feet wide.
right.
I remember passing it before. This last trip was almost no vehicles on it when we were on it, which was
Mm.
amazing. But I remember meeting like a Suburban on the motorcycle, and you were like, this is too small, you know? And so people must just have to completely pull over when it's
Mhm.
car to car. But
Yeah.
so that's Michigan, Tunnel of Trees, Minnesota, and, the Highway 61, which starts in Duluth and runs on the north side of Superior there. It's amazing. I was all the way to the Canadian border. I checked out the pictures. Oh my gosh, what a view! And then kind of the super tip, and this is, something they were talking about on there, was there's a ski resort up there, and they call it the Luston Mountains.
Lutzen,
Lutsen,
Lutzen,
thank you.
Lutzen, yeah.
Um, you can take the at certain days, you'd have to make sure that you can do it, but they take the ski lift up to the top.
Oh, they have gondolas there,
The
that's
gondola,
right,
yeah.
yeah, that's right,
So you
yeah.
take the gondola up, and the picture was just absolutely breathtaking. I
Wow,
mean,
yeah, that would be
it
great.
was huge.
Yeah.
So get there. You might wanna check on the days of the week. I think that might be a
Mhm.
little tricky. I'm assuming it's not every day. It just had ranges when I looked beforehand, so you might have to give them a call.
Yeah.
Um,
I would hope the weekends because that's when people will
that
be out
would
driving, looking at the leaves, but
yeah, be
yeah,
what you would
check
assume.
the website for
Check it,
sure,
yeah,
yeah.
so if we move to Illinois, the easy answer is Great River Road, and I kind of knew we were going to talk about that with other ones. So I dug in a little deeper, and actually, on the other side of Illinois, there's the Ohio River Scenic Byway. So basically, it runs along the river over there.
Mhm.
Wow, what a beautiful looking area. So kind of if you think about in the 4 o'clock position of Illinois, there's a town called Old Shawneetown, Illinois.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a good spot. It's kind of where the river starts to, for Illinois. And if you kind of just follow all the way down and around in the tip and then back up, so that would include, what I checked out there was Old Shawneetown, Elizabethtown, Bay City, Illinois. New Liberty is way down there. And then there's a
Mhm.
state park, Fort Massac State Park, and then Metropolis, Illinois, and Chester, Illinois, which we know is
Oh,
where
yeah.
Popeye,
Right.
where Popeye's from. It kind of just traces the bottom of Illinois.
Mhm.
And wow, I was looking at some of the foliage from down there, and it is pretty cool.
That makes
And
sense.
we've never rode again, we haven't rode there in the fall for sure. Every time we've rode that area down there, it's been raining. I don't know if you
I
remember that
do
or not,
remember, yeah.
actually. Every time we've been there, it's been raining in that area. So we really haven't seen that Ohio River Valley. There's a, I don't know if it's a state park, but it's a Cave in the Rock that we were always gonna go see. It was, I think, where probably Jesse James was a hideout. It's only accessible from the Illinois side, and again, every time we try to go there, it's been raining.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sometime I'd like to get there, but the views and what they're showing, um, just seems stunning from the pictures that I saw. Is there any other places in Illinois that you know of? Off the top of your head?
Not off the top of my head. I highly recommend that. I mean, that would be
I would
great.
also have to say, you guys have been there. We've never been there together, but that Bald Knob Cross.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I believe they say you can see for many states. There's like it's like 3 to 5 states. I think you can see from there.
Yeah, that sounds.
And that's really looking over the Mississippi. It's where the Ohio River and the Mississippi River meet, I think, because I think the Ohio River comes and puts in the Mississippi there. And wow, would that be something? I mean, we've seen that in its like spring state,
Right.
and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And you get it's way up there, and that cross is, I think, is it 40 feet tall?
Oh gosh, it's taller
It's
than
way
that.
taller than
Yeah,
that. It's pretty
it's
awesome.
much taller.
We'll have to go back to the
So
one
we
talked
have an
about, but
episode where we actually talked
Yeah.
about that.
it's a great thing.
Yeah. And, Great River Road, you can always ride
Of
the
course.
west side,
Yeah.
of course.
So when I looked at Missouri again, I looked at, we talked about, Highway 19 in Missouri is one of our favorites. That thing runs through all kinds of forests. It would be amazing. But I looked for one specifically around Lake of the Ozarks,
Oh, yeah.
just because we haven't talked a lot about that area of Missouri before. So there's a really, really interesting ride, probably the most unique ride of any of the rides that we're talking about today. And this is Table Rock Lake to Kimberling City, Highway 265 to 13. The interesting thing about it is tons of trees, but then of course it has the lakes, and then it's actually it's Ozark Mountains. So you're talking about leaves, lakes, and mountains. It sounds like this traverses quite the up, up,
some
up
elevation.
and down and
Elevation
up the
changes.
hill. Yeah, what is that? Up a hill and down the dale. But it's got to be stunning. The pictures that I saw overlooking like Lake of the Ozarks area was it was so neat. And then it was probably a picture I could never take. Like it was reflecting just right off the lake. So you're just seeing this like massive like colors.
A postcard photo, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of honorable mention in Missouri is talking about Route 66. I mean, Route 66 pretty much runs right on the north side of the Mark Twain Forest, and all that area down there is it's really nice. But this was kind of up there as a ride for
That would be
for the
great.
Ozarks. The longest road or longest leaf ride that we've tracked for today is Wisconsin. I'm going to throw a bonus one out there. Is Kettle Moraine Scenic Drive is actually not too far from Milwaukee. It's the Kettle Moraine State Park, and there's it's like an 8-mile drive, and there's a lot of walking trails in this area by Milwaukee that you can go to. Really, really great leaf ride. But I mean, this one probably is the best section of the Great River Road as far as it comes to leaves. So this one is 181 miles. I've kind of got it briefly jumping into Minnesota, just because I actually think the drive and the leaf view would be better, but that part of it keeps you right on the river. And one of the things I think I love about fall Wisconsin leaf ride is then double bonus, it's apple season in Wisconsin.
Oh, right.
So you can stop, and there are places everywhere. Even the last time we were up there in Wisconsin, which was August, we got apples from just a local farmer who was hand picking them. And it was cheap too, by the way. I was like, I think we got 5 pounds of Honeycrisp for $7.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a bargain too. So what I've got on this one, so it actually starts in Prescott, Wisconsin, which is essentially the Twin Cities. I mean, it is all the way up there. That's 35. Coming down to Stockholm. So Stockholm is where we just recently went with Stockholm Pie and General Store. So these guys won the best pie of the year 2024 from the USA Today. It's unbelievable pie. I mean, I've ate a lot of pie in my life, and it is. I don't know that I could say I had a better piece of bread.
Really?
Yeah, it is so good. It's busy there though. Like it's almost. I kind of feel bad for them almost. Like I think it'd be interesting to see what it looks like in a year when like if it's that busy. This town is probably 300 people at best.
No kidding.
It was so many people there. We were so lucky when we pulled in because we pull in and right in front of the store, then there was a park we could park the motorcycles. But, like, it was blocks and blocks and blocks of people. There's probably 5,000 people in the town when we were there that day.
What?
Unreal.
Not all to get pie.
No, well, I mean, there was probably a third of them probably had
No
pie.
kidding.
Oh my god. We waited probably 5 minutes just to get in line, but it was worth it. Totally
Wow.
worth it. So if you keep coming down Fountain City, and right in that area, right between Fountain City, you get to La Crosse, jump over, north of there, jump over to Winona, Minnesota, because
Mhm.
the river road doesn't stay on the river on the Wisconsin side right there. It cuts like a little bit east. So if you jump over to Winona and go down to La Crosse, you can come back to the road, and then you'll stay with
Gotcha.
the kind of like river view,
Yeah.
which is definitely what you want to do there. But then what I would do at the very end is Dubuque, Iowa has a really great park called Pikes Peak State Park, and it is tall. And if you
Mhm.
go up there, then you're looking again over the river valley there. It's unbelievable, and
Yeah.
I think that might give you one of the best fall views that you could get. Maybe especially you're really looking at Wisconsin when you're there at that Pikes Peak Park.
Yeah.
Have you ever been there?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a while,
It's
but yeah, I've
it's
been up
crazy. And there's a special, like, scenic overlook, I think that's a little bit off that you can go to, and, you'll see tons of pictures
there. Mhm.
about it, but, yeah, we rode this section. This is a little bit further north starting and coming down this section of the Great River Road, and, again, it's stunning. I mean, it's so good. We've talked about this before, but the locks and the dams, and all that with the leaves, I don't know. I don't know if this might be the best one that we've
Can't say it
talked
enough.
about. Yeah.
For sure.
And then the last one is the Iowa one. And again, we could easily pick the Great River Road, but I'm like, well, let's see what else. And actually, my wife and I rode in a car this road not too long ago. We were up in Dyersville, and I wanted to come down to Bellevue, so we did.
Mhm.
And again, another great lock in Bellevue. It's a cool one. The town of Bellevue is really cool. They're really trying very hard to continue to maintain the historical value of a lot of the buildings there. So even the ones that are on the river, there's a brewery there and some stuff. They put some money into them. And so you can really, there's a nice like river walk on that side,
Mm.
but, and that has a beautiful view of the Wisconsin side when you're looking across. Or I guess that would be Illinois by the time you got
Illinois,
to
yep.
Belleville, yeah.
Mhm.
But wow, it's a pretty wide section of area. But no, but starting from Bellevue, if you actually go back to the west, it's 75 miles of what they call the Grantwood Scenic Byway.
Mm.
And that goes from Bellevue to Stone City, which is really close to Anamosa. So
Yep.
what you do is you come down to Makokata, and then you cut across and you go over there. We took this and it was unbelievable. Now we were driving the car, but this was, I can't even believe how this would be with the bikes, because you're going up and down, and then there's a nice valley there, kind of like where these hills are meeting. You're driving down along the
Mm.
base of the hill. It is stunning, and that was not even on the bikes, that was just in the car,
Yeah.
and I was thinking about writing this down, and then when I saw this Grantwood Scenic Byway, again, haven't been there in the fall, but I think this is one that we might have to figure out how to get to this thing this year.
Mm.
It's not too bad.
That would be a day trip.
It'd be an
Easy.
easy day trip,
Yeah.
I think. I think Bellevue's about maybe, what, hour and a half from us. This is another 75 miles, and gosh, it reminded me a lot of some of the Wisconsin, the valleys when you're coming through some of those farms that are down in the bottom. That's what it
Mhm.
reminded me of. But I think this would be a stunning fall trip.
Yeah, I
I
agree.
think I've only rode motorcycles in the fall. Maybe I think we did like Sebula, kind of a little loop around Sebula, Savannah,
Mhm.
that area in the
Mhm.
fall before.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever hit it right on the money.
Is this do they call it the Grantwood Scenic Byway? Did Grantwood paint
It has
images of this?
a couple things it has to do. I don't know that specifically he did,
Mhm.
but there is a Grant Wood like school inspired in Makokata.
Mm-hmm.
And then Stone City, there's also there's another thing from Grant Wood there, and it's like this educational area that that
Mm.
foundation puts money into. So I
Okay.
think that that's probably why that it's named
That's what
that.
they
It's
named it.
kind of a couple points along the way
Okay.
that yeah, that it is. So
Mm-hmm.
so I'm thinking that one's gonna have to be a must do this year.
Yeah, that sounds good.
What did the and you found too, like if you go to the local like the DNR website for each state, they kind
Yeah.
of start to help you. I mean, they don't know yet when the best times are,
Right.
but they're if you keep watching, they kind of start to get it figured out.
Yeah, I know the Iowa DNR has what they call their fall color maps, and I think they start to update those on October 1st.
Okay,
And it'll be, and then they'll just tell you week by week,
kind
you
of
know,
what the optimum.
yeah, what the where to be, Northeast Iowa, Southeast Iowa, Central Iowa, yeah,
Sure,
all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'm sure each state has something
I'm
like that.
sure.
So take a look at the DNR sites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you go there, then you can kind of see because it'll start from the north and work its way. So
Hmm.
yeah, and it's usually done by the end of October,
Yeah.
practically.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
depending on how far south, but yeah,
yeah, depending on temperature, I suppose.
I suppose frost,
Dry,
temperature,
dryness.
wind.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is a section we call the Toolkit. We share motorcycle gear, gear review, and other riding tips. All right, for the Toolkit, kind of as you think about riding when it gets a little cooler, I thought maybe a TPMS tire pressure monitoring system is good now. The newer bikes are starting to come with these, but they're pretty reasonably priced. I mean, you can go as low as I don't know if I would or not, but I mean, I think you can technically get one for like $30 up into the couple $100 based on
Yeah.
features
Right.
off like a Revzilla, Amazon, one of these
Hmm.
places. Now you've not run one.
Not yet. I really need to.
Yeah.
I get kind of tired of trying to get down on the ground and get my
Yeah.
hand underneath there, but I know that I've read a few reviews, on some of the cheap ones, and they don't last more than about a year.
Right.
So I don't want to do that. And I've also read where if they're heavy, because they screw onto the cap, like you take your
Correct.
cap off, screw them on. If they're too heavy, you actually need to replace the valve with a metal valve because
It'll
it'll break off your valve because they
gotcha.
put a lot of pressure on.
I think if you have a straight valve, I don't think it's so problematic because generally the valve stem's in the middle of the rim. I think when it gets a slight bit problematic is some of the motorcycles have a 90.
Yeah.
And I do think you have to be careful then.
Yeah, and I think I
Um,
have at least 190. I can't remember.
but sometimes the 90s are metal too, so I'm not sure
Mm.
if it matters.
Mhm.
I will tell you a couple other things are important. Ask me how I know. You want to put a little anti-seize on the threads before you do it
Mm.
because generally speaking, your valve stems are steel, and generally speaking, there's an aluminum nut that goes on,
Yeah.
and those two will bind,
Yep.
and you will very difficult to get off.
Yeah, they start to share molecules and they weld themselves
Yeah, it's
together, don't
great.
they?
So there's that. The other one is even so I have the newer Goldwing that has a TPMS, and when we recently rode out west in the morning, I was shocked. I mean, I was a little concerned that I had a punctured tire,
Oh, so
um,
low?
but both tires had dropped similarly in pressure, so it was just
Mhm.
a atmospheric thing.
Yeah.
But it was weird. I mean, I was like, "Oh, man," like, I was getting a little worried, but then when they were both so I had to put air in both tires
Mm.
during the trip.
Yeah.
So, it's one of those things where the day before I was fine, the next day I wasn't. I mean, it really, truly, you really have to pay attention. I mean,
Right.
it's really important.
Yeah.
And, especially at the expense that some of these tires are not cheap.
Right.
They're more expensive even to get on, and it will wear your tires out quickly if you don't have the pressure proper.
Exactly.
And then especially when you're kinda gotta do a visual though, because, like, you might have the right pressure, but then you load it up with a bunch of weight, and you might need to get a little firmer,
Mhm.
when you're loaded for bear.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Do you know, are the ones that connect to a phone app, are they not quite as nice as the ones that have their own little uh, gauge that you can mount on the
I know a lot of
handlebars?
people would prefer not to I mean, what's nice about the ones on your phone is I think that'll give you an alert. Like Bluetooth, because I
Mm.
think it's Bluetooth.
Oh, okay.
So, like, they will alert you, so generally, you'd probably be a little more apt to do it.
Mhm.
I've had the other kind before, and it worked fine,
Mhm.
and I never really needed them, but I know that, like, that's kind of the reasoning is they can do a notification,
Oh,
and
okay.
I think
That makes
that's
sense.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, sometimes it's not easy to mount that thing I mean, that
Mhm.
not everybody has a spot for the
Yeah.
TPS, like,
Yeah.
yeah, monitor or whatever you wanna
Monitor.
call
Yeah.
it, yeah. If you like the podcast today, please like and subscribe or sign up for the BMR Rider Alert. It's our way of keeping you in the loop, and we promise no spam.
Keep the spirit of adventure alive, and remember, bikes, friends, and endless roads, the stories ride forever. Take care.